lot of breakdowns, emotional breakdowns, a lot of tears, lot of failures. The thing is, again, motivation, I would say, I had a quote written on my study table that, you are an officer, think like an officer.
इतना अनफेयर गेम है कि आप एक भी पेपर, एक भी चीज अगर ग्रांटेड लोगे, सो बहुत ही बड़ा डिफरेंस क्रिएट हो जाएगा. बाद में प्रॉब्लम क्या है, you'll never be able to trace back कि ये हुआ क्यों.
And then approximately you have 16 months from today. Okay, so this is a broad timetable, a very idealistic timetable to say.
आपने YouTube पे बहुत सारे वीडियो देख लिए होंगे 2026 स्ट्रेटेजी के. I don't want to repeat all that. What I want to make sure, if you will stick with me or see Lakshmi with few, like next half an hour, 40 minutes in this session, we will make sure that you will feel or you will reach at the same stage as a veteran aspirant, if not better. इसके बाद you will not think कि I am at certain disadvantage because I am attempting for the first time. The whole job, that is the whole point of doing this session today. We don't want to repeat strategy videos or anything, etc. We want to make sure that if you are feeling at certain disadvantage being a first attempter, then don't. After this webinar, you will not.
Do we have to do PhD in all of these subjects? No. UPSC has some priority areas out of which UPSC asks you questions, right? These priority areas we need to identify from our PYQs. When I opened my Lakshmikant, I know where to focus on. I know where to spend maximum time on.
I started my full-fledged preparation after I joined the Ultimate Assessment Program at Civilsdaily.
There is a 12-month strategy which I have done on Civilsdaily platform only.
I reached out to the Civilsdaily team.
Civilsdaily. Current affairs में Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. With Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. Civilsdaily. To Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily. Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
Civilsdaily.
A mentorship program of Civilsdaily, and that did help me a lot.
Let us talk about first what we have prepared for you. And I want to start with something which is very important, and because कल मेंस का रिजल्ट आया है, and I've been talking to both side of aspirants, जिनका हुआ है, जिनका नहीं हुआ है. बहुत ही unexpected सा है, because there were certain aspirants who were, like, we could see the potential they will make through. I don't know what went wrong. Their GS marks were really good, but I think essay or optional में कुछ तो normalization, something happened and they couldn't make through. But surprisingly, there were certain aspirants who were not confident, and we were also not sure if they will make through. We helped them cover their GS marks, etc., over 400, but they performed decently well in essay, optional, plus whatever we could help in GS they did, and they made in the list. Some of them are first time, some of them are second time. But the main thing, when I got on a call with them, I ended up realizing that UPSC बहुत ही, like, it's like one of the most unfairest game of all. It's extremely unfair game. And why I'm feeling this, honestly, right now, is because I talked to both sides of aspirant. I never felt that जिसका हुआ है या जिसका नहीं हुआ उसने कोई उनके efforts में कोई difference था. It has to be something else. मतलब वो edge क्यों मिल रही है? Why are certain aspirants getting that edge? And especially people who were repeating the mains, मतलब जो already, मतलब जिन्होंने पहले भी मेंस दे रखा है या पहले यूपीएससी प्रिपेयर कर रखा है, इट्स लाइक द सेकंड अटेम्प्ट, थर्ड अटेम्प्ट, सम ऑफ देम वर ऑलरेडी इन द सर्विस. they were very sure. Some of them didn't even prepare much. They still made through in the list. And then there is this aspirant who is attempting for the first time, पहली बार prelims निकला है, but then उसका नहीं हो रहा है, similar efforts, everything, etc. And when I checked their copies, test copies, etc., I ended up realizing that of course selection rate is, I don't know, like 0.1%, even lesser. मतलब 10 लाख में से मुश्किल से 600, 700, 800 लोगों का ही नाम आना है लिस्ट में. If you are chasing IAS, then तो और अलग ही कुछ चल रहा है, right? This year 78 रैंक पे जनरल कैटेगरी में IAS क्लोज हो चुका है. We have a ranker called Ishani. She was 79th rank. Couldn't get IAS. Imagine. और मुश्किल से 1-2 नंबर का ही डिफरेंस होगा, राइट? इतना अनफेयर गेम है कि आप एक भी पेपर, एक भी चीज अगर ग्रांटेड लोगे, सो बहुत ही बड़ा डिफरेंस क्रिएट हो जाएगा. बाद में प्रॉब्लम क्या है, यूल नेवर बी एबल टू ट्रेस बैक कि ये हुआ क्यों है. आप पूरी या तो खुद के पोटेंशियल पे डाउट कर लोगे कि मुझसे ही नहीं होगा, या तो फिर आप एग्जाम को फुल ऑन बोल दोगे कि कुछ तो अलग ही चल रहा है, समथिंग एल्स इज गोइंग ऑन, आई हैव नो आइडिया, कुछ एम्बिग्विटी है, आई डोंट नो, आई डोंट अंडरस्टैंड. द कॉम्पिटिशन इज रूथलेस because lot of people here are attempting for the first time. You just wrote in the chat. आप उनके साथ बैठने वाले हो एग्जाम में 2026 में, जो ऑलरेडी 5, 6, 3, 4 बार दे चुके हैं. वो सर्विस में है ऑलरेडी. They are already in the service. They are qualifying mains comfortably. They are qualifying prelims comfortably. The people, there are 120-ish people here. look at their faces. वो आपके कोई दोस्त नहीं है यहाँ पे. All of them are like legit competition. कोई अपनी सीट नहीं छोड़ेगा आपके लिए. और ऐसा नहीं है कि आप लोग कोई कम एफर्ट डाल रहे हो दूसरे से. That's what I've been feeling for the whole day. जब से रिजल्ट आया है कि how come like there are people who are putting so much effort, they are still restricted. So clearly effort is not which is doing the job here. Strategy is. And why I'm saying this, because the biggest insecurity that a first attempter has is that जो ऑलरेडी रिपीट कर रहे हैं ना एग्जाम, उनको कुछ तो पता है जो मुझे नहीं पता. उनको सबसे ज्यादा इनसिक्योरिटी यही होती है कि उनका तो ऑलरेडी रैंक है, उनको तो सारा सिलेबस पता है, उनका ऑप्शनल सही है, उनका they have experienced the exam, they understand the pattern, they know what kind of questions will come, they can write answers, they have done enough practice, 20 more things. That's what one of the aspirant told me today. कि I don't know how do I compete with these people who are attempting for the fifth time, fourth time. Can I wait for 4 years now? जब मैं उनके स्टेज पर जाऊंगा, that is that when I'll qualify? And it felt very sad to me that people have accepted this reality कि पहले 2-3 अटेम्प्ट में तो कुछ नहीं होना है. But I just want to instill this confidence in these 120, 130 people here. No, that's not true. You don't have to doubt the process. I'll tell you why. What is it that these repeated aspirants or veteran knows? Right? They understand the exam, but how? They basically understand the previous year questions. They basically have identified कि what are the areas, what are the specific areas in my syllabus, in my books, जहाँ से question repeated आ रहे हैं. उनको एक साल में ये नहीं पता चला होगा तो दूसरे साल में पता चल गया. In third year they got to know. Eventually they had this belief कि यहाँ से these X number of topics, if someone wakes me up at 2 in the night also, I should be able to answer these questions, be it in prelims or mains. Once they have these topics sorted, they are very confident about those topics. Rest, they are just trying to cover or fix their weaknesses because their strength is sorted. This is the 80-20 rule. Majority of the questions are going to repeat from certain areas, certain part of the syllabus. They are 100% confident about. That's why you'll keep hearing this. I didn't prepare much this year, still I got through. Right? We have a ranker this year. He met an accident. Like he could not study at all. He is already IPS, but उसने कुछ नहीं पढ़ाई किया यार. He is still in the list. कल उसका नाम था. I saw his first name is. I saw his name. Like ये कैसे हो सकता है कि like I have one aspirant who is like preparing for like 16 months and then still not making through. So this is what it is. And आपने YouTube पे बहुत सारे वीडियो देख लिए होंगे 2026 strategy के. I don't want to repeat all that. What I want to make sure, if you will stick with me for or Sri Lakshmi with few like next half an hour, 40 minutes in this session, we will make sure that you will feel or you will reach at the same stage as a veteran aspirant, if not better. इसके बाद you will not think कि I am at certain disadvantage because I am attempting for the first time. ठीक है? Yes, the game is unfair, but what if you develop your unfair advantage? Then it's equal level playing field. You also develop your advantages, and that is the whole job. That is the whole point of doing this session today. We don't want to repeat strategy videos or anything, etc. We want to make sure that if you are feeling at certain disadvantage being a first attempter, then don't. After this webinar, you will not. Stick with us for 45. Have your pen and paper ready. And then we have Sri Lakshmi. She qualified 2023. She has been taking sessions with us for a while. I hope a lot of you have already attempted. Should we start? Everything good? You can hear us. I hope. Great. Okay, cool. So this is the first thing I want to say is that majority of the aspirants, they regret having misdirected strategy, guidance, but that happens during or after the exam. And the major reason is there was no one telling me, there was no feedback or anything. Like you can see in the image, studying now is better than leaving the examination wishing you would have studied more. ये अगर आप लोग में से कोई ऐसे हैं जिन्होंने ऑलरेडी अटेम्प्ट दे चुका है, you will relate to this thing a lot. You always regret after the fact. That should not happen because you have attended this webinar. Make sure जो भी weaknesses है, जो भी gaps हैं, ask all your questions today so that after today's session you have like razor sharp clarity. This is one of the aspirants, Sai Tejasvi. I hope he's here. He wrote this to us. These are the things I want to cover. And this perfectly captures, this is the expectation he had from today's session. this perfectly covers today's webinar. We will be discussing exactly all of these points today. I hope he's here. Cool. So Srilakshmi will take up the session from here. You can, yeah, great. Go ahead, Srilakshmi. Let me know. I'll run the slides for you.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Ayush. Hello, everyone. I was just going through the chat and somebody had written, is this purely a game of luck? I don't think it's purely a game of luck, but definitely there is an element of luck. And I believe in that after post my results, because I was expecting to score a really good rank because I had prepared everything, but still there's something missing. Again, what we can do is study the basic minimum, try once all our stars align, we need to, hit a sixer, right? So that's what we can do. We need to prepare our notes properly. We need to identify the micro themes, which I'm going to talk about in the slide later, and make sure there are no gaps left, right? So yeah, let's start. UPSC 2026 Civil Service Prelims examination will be conducted in May 2026, and the mains exam is going to be conducted in August, right? So you have after May, you'll have June, July, August, 3 months approximately for mains exam. And then approximately you have 16 months from today. Okay. Next slide. All right. So this is a broad timetable, a very idealistic timetable to say. From December 2024 to April 2025, right? This month onwards till next April. This is your phase 1. You need to complete your basic foundation, that is thorough reading of all the priority subjects, including polity, economy, history, all the 3 history subjects, geography. These are your priority subjects. So you need to complete a thorough reading of all these subjects. Plus, you need to refer to your PYQs, identify the important themes, micro themes, prepare notes as per that. Once you complete your phase 1, you will be above the 50% of your competition. Okay, so you have to hit that 50 percentile of UPSC competition, because 50% of the people are not going to cover this phase 1, and phase 1 will be filled with laziness, not covering your priority subjects. This is what generally people do. You're not supposed to do that. Once you are done with this phase 1, you will be above the 50%. Then you have a buffer week. I have kept a buffer week from April to June 2025. Okay, why? Because we are all human beings. Not possible to stick around the timetable. You cannot be very strict with yourself, right? Sometimes something might have happened because of which you might have left out few subjects, which you can cover in this buffer week, right? So that is April to June. Post June, there begins your phase 2, which is your mains preparation. So you have to focus mainly on your mains, which is identifying the micro themes for mains, both for GS and optional. Okay. After identifying the micro themes, you need to prepare your 1-pager notes and then also do your answer writing. Okay. So majorly for the mains preparation, the phase 2 covers the mains preparation part. Once you complete your phase 2, you will be above the 80% of your competition. Okay. Most people are not going to do this. Once December 2025 reaches up, oppose that, you have to completely shift your gears to your prelims preparation. So till December 2025, you have been doing solely your mains. After that, you have to start your prelims. Again, for prelims, you have to identify the micro themes, prepare your 1-pager notes, which I'll be sharing. I'll be showing you in the upcoming slides. You need to, start writing mocks. You need to give your full-length test, sectional test, identify the gaps, fill, revise, recall, do everything in this from December to May. All right. Then in May, you have your D-Day. The date has not come yet, right? So you'll have your D-Day, that is prelims, and post that. After your prelims, once that's over, then there begins your phase 4, which is solely mains preparation. Then there you have to do your second reading. You have to give more answer writing practices. You have to do your revision. And here, once you do all this, you will be you will hit that 99 percentile, which is you will be above the 99 percentage of your percent of your competition. Right? Then in August, you will have your D-Day, and post that you can start your fifth phase, which is interview preparation and mocks. So the broad timeline for 2026 UPSC examination.
Yeah, folks, just if you, I hope you have noted this down. If not, just take a screenshot, but keep this. Largely stick to these months for your preparation. Hold yourself accountable. And anyone who's attempting in 26, you have enough months, like 1.5 years is decent enough to qualify in your single attempt. Okay, but stick to these timelines. Generally, what happens, people start preparing for UPSC from prelims. If you'll see December to April, we are not focusing on prelims. What she has written is basically like cover your foundation subject, history, polity, geography, economy, because those subjects will be covering for prelims, mains both, right? So make sure that you have taken a screenshot and stick to these timelines.
Again, talking about consistency, I always believe in making timetables. So this is a macro timetable, which is an yearly timetable you have to follow. Take a screenshot, write it down on a piece of paper, stick it in front of you. You need to have this in front of you. If you do not have a timeline with you, your preparation will be haphazard. You will not know what to do. So make sure you keep a note of this. All right. Next, talking about revision. You need to have a bi-weekly revision plan, which means you take up one subject, you prepare for like 14, 15 days. And then out of those, you need to you need to keep minimum 3 days for revision alone. All right. This is what I meant by the bi-weekly revision plan. So 15 days, you allot to one subject, take out 3 days out of those 15 days, and then keep it solely for revision purposes. Somebody was asking, where will you find my notes? See, my notes is not in digital format. Okay, I've been receiving this message since a long time now. I do not have it in a digital format. I need to scan all of them. I've not scanned them, and my notes is not with me right now because I'm out of town. So whenever I get time and space, then I'll definitely scan and upload them. All right. Okay. How many hours to study? Okay. 7 to 8 hours, because you have to run a long race. You cannot study for 15, 16 hours daily. So minimum 7 to 8 hours per day. Okay. And daily revise the previous days, whatever you have covered, whichever subject you have covered, you have to revise it before you start your next day. That is very, very important. Otherwise, you will forget whatever you have studied. Okay. So definitely you have this bi-weekly revision plan. Along with that, daily take out like an hour or so to revise whatever you have studied the previous day. All right.
Yeah. So folks, I hope like you have the basic macro understanding. You have a monthly timeline for next 16 months. किस month है क्या करना है phase wise. You have the weekly thing, like in every 2 weeks I have to revise and check up, like you decide which subject and then revise in the last 3 days. Now you have a daily thing, minimum. So we have taken care of all the basic doubts, but this is from the next slide. For the next 20-30 minutes, we will be talking about the advantage that I started the whole session with. ये basic advice हर जगह मिल जाता है, but now we want to make sure as a first attempter, you understand something which only veteran understand, repeated aspirants, ranker understand, right? From here on, we will talk about the micro themes, how to identify certain areas which have been coming in exam again and again. This is the understanding that rankers have. Like you have been all putting efforts, but that's not enough. It's all about strategy in the end, right? And this is the strategy. Whatever you are doing on a daily basis, please start from this. Please start looking your preparation from this lens, right? Have a daily plan, have a yearly plan, but daily action. Like don't just have a plan and not doing anything on a daily basis. And don't also do it randomly something on a daily basis without having a yearly plan, right? So we'll start with GS preparation, right? She'll tell you about the prelims ka micro themes first. Can all of you write what you understand by micro themes? We have been saying this for a while. Like she actually has done a lot of sessions on micro themes herself. Now, do you understand what is micro themes? Just someone write. If yes, you know anything, you can write no. or yes, if you are completely new to Microthemes.
I can see a lot of no's.
Yep. No problem. Like this is mostly new Janta. Cool. Go ahead. Like first we'll start with prelims Microthemes. Go ahead, Sila.
All right. So, what is microthemes? Microthemes are priority areas. UPSC has given us a syllabus, right? We know the different subjects which UPSC asks from, like history, geography, polity, economy, science, and tech. But do we have to do PhD in all of these subjects? No. UPSC has some priority areas out of which UPSC asks you questions, right? These priority areas we need to identify from our PYQs. All right, those priority areas are known as microthemes. There's a basic definition of it. All right. So why you cannot afford to ignore microthemes? Because now, like this table, you can see 2023, 14 questions have come from history, 16 from geography, 15 from polity, 14 from economy. So these are the core. So 14 from environment, 15 from current affairs. It is around 59, like 50%, right? And the average mark. So once you are like thorough with your static, you can actually rely on your static to clear the cutoff. You don't even have to do your current affairs. All right. Conditions applied, you have to have a very strong static base, right? So you cannot ignore static under any circumstances. Next. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, average number of recurring questions from static is around 50. Average marks for you to grab is around 100, right? Generally, you can see the cutoff ranging from 80s, 90s. 2023, it even went down to 75, right? Core subjects are history, economy, polity, geography. There are 4 core subjects. And the total number of prelims micro themes is around 150. All right. Okay. So what's the accurate picture of prelims? Static and current affair weightage is roughly the same, around 50-50, right? Okay. Now, I said 50% comes from static, but there is some issue with static, right? Why are you getting your questions wrong? First of all, you are not able to prioritize the recurring micro themes and not able to memorize or recall it. Okay, you have not identified the micro themes, you have not studied, you have not done your PYQ analysis well. Second reason could be the questions which come beyond the standard reference books. Okay, you don't have any notes because you're not able to understand the different dimensions of the topic. So one thing is you have identified the micro themes. Other thing is under that micro theme, what are the different dimensions you have to study, right? So one thing is, as I mentioned, micro theme. Then second thing is dimensions, identifying the different dimensions. Next. Okay. This graph, you can see, it's a polity trend analysis. There are 192 questions that have been asked. Here you can see the micro theme fundamental rights, DPSPs, and fundamental duties. The number of questions that have been asked in comparison to topics like delimitation commission or landmark amendments is much more, right? So what do you get from this? You get that fundamental rights, DPSP, fundamental duties, political theory, judiciary, these are my priority areas. If I open my polity, when I open my Lakshmikant, I know where to focus on. I know where to spend maximum time on, right? So once you identify this, you can allot your time accordingly for preparation of these topics.
Yeah, let's just ask aspirants like, hey folks, what is the least important topic here in terms of recurringly asked manner?
Recurringly asked questions.
आप इसमें सबसे ज्यादा कम टाइम किस पे स्पेंड करोगे? Think like a veteran. Great. Now you are getting it. See.
Correct.
See, this is what I'm saying. If you didn't know it, आप ना रेट को भी उतना ही इंपॉर्टेंस दे रहे होते. That's why you are a first time attempter. फिर आप बोलोगे एग्जाम अनफेयर है, ये वो. अगर एक वेटरन होएगा ना तो वो नीचे के 4-5 टॉपिक पकड़ के ही प्रिपेयर करेगी. इज लाइक यही आ रहा है, यही करेगी. दैट्स द ओनली डिफरेंस. they put disproportionate attention to something, extra attention, effort to something which has a solid potential to come. So this is what it is. This is what micro themes are, right? I hope now you get it. इसका सारा documents है, you'll get it at the end of webinar. We have already provided this multiple times, but for prelims also, mains also, this will give you. It's freely available. Cool.
Okay. So again, you're not supposed to read your book from cover to cover. Okay. Don't read Lakshmika from page number 1 till whatever page number it ends. Do not do that. And do not do multiple time revision of that. All right. So you need to diligently focus on your micro themes. Get your notes in that right format. That is identifying the micro themes, again, doing PYQ analysis, getting the dimensions under which, under the, the questions, different dimensions that have been asked under each micro theme, you need to identify. And then you need to ensure that you do not miss any question from these micro themes.
Yeah. I hope everyone is on the same page. What we have covered till now, that once you know these micro themes for prelims, once you have identified, there are two ways to do it. One, आप standard NCERT's resources पे जाओगे, वहां पे आपको वो टॉपिक मिल जाएगा, उसका 1 पेजर या शॉर्ट नोट्स बनाना है, डन. कुछ टॉपिक्स ऐसे भी आ रहे हैं प्रीलिम्स में जो आप ट्रेस नहीं कर सकते स्टैंडर्ड रिसोर्सेज में, यू कैन नॉट फाइंड देम इजिली. तो होगा क्या ना, लाइक देन यू विल पैनिक, यू लाइक देन सम यूट्यूब वीडियो समवन विल से कंप्लीटली डिफरेंट बुक पढ़ लो एक दो क्वेश्चन के लिए, वो नहीं करना है. ठीक है, यू जस्ट हैव टू स्ट्रेच योर नॉलेज. हाउ? बाय एनालाइजिंग द ऑप्शंस, dimensions of the PYQs, all right, and make notes from there. Do a basic googling, etc. You are fine, good to go. That is what we have covered till now. I hope everyone is on the same page.
Can you just go to the previous slide? Yep. Somebody had asked how to make these notes.
Yeah, that's what we are. Yeah, and we'll cover that in the, like, we are already showing you notes. Yeah, folks, we'll show you notes of Sri Lakshmi, how she has done it. Yes, we'll share the micro themes. So this is what we have covered. Let's just go deep dive into some recurring micro themes for prelims. There are 3 levels, different dimensions. One is, first you have identified the micro themes. Second, you are able to, this is again, I'm trying to draw a contrast between एक first attempter कैसे सोचता है, beginner कैसे सोच रहा है, एक repeated attempt वाला इंसान कैसे सोच रहा है. That is the whole point of this webinar, because इस month तक ये कर लेना, वो कर लेना, 10,000 वीडियोस हैं यूट्यूब पे, मुझे उसके बारे में बात नहीं करनी. श्री लक्ष्मी, it's waste of her time also talking about the same thing which is anyway available. We want to make sure, we want to push you, persuade you towards ki think like someone who has already attempted the exam. This is how they think. They first identify those topics जिनकी potential बहुत ज्यादा है एग्जाम में आने का, जो आ रहा है validated by PYQs, random guess नहीं है, they are validated topics. हमने वो काम कर दिया है, so we have done it for you. You don't need to do this. We'll share the whole PDF. Second, understanding the nature of questions within those micro themes, right? Third, nature of question is, can I trace it back to the standard book or not? If not, then explore the options, Google those options from which new topics may arise, some other dimensions can come, and then make short notes of all these 3 things. You're fine. You're good to go. Now you're almost at the same level of prelims preparation as someone who is repeatedly qualifying the prelims. That's all. ठीक है, that is, of course, you should be covering the whole syllabus, etc. I'm not saying कि बस ये micro themes करके चले जाओ, but इसमें से अगर कुछ आता है, you cannot afford to get wrong. ठीक है, because they will not. People who are attempting again, they will not get it wrong, and it's not an absolute exam. It's a relative exam, competitive exam है. Cutoff will come. Your own absolute number doesn't matter. ठीक है. So this is art and culture. Go ahead, Lakshmi. These are the micro themes for art and culture.
Yeah. Here you can see the maximum number of questions is from Buddhism and Jainism, which means UPSC prioritizes Buddhism and Jainism more in comparison to something like, some philosophical schools or foreign travelers, right? Then you can see the next important micro theme is painting, dance, music and festivals. Then you can see architecture, caves, rocker, temple, etc. Then next important one is literature. Next is historical terms. So now you know where to focus in art and culture. Generally, people run away from art and culture and ancient history and all of that. But once you have this, you can actually, if you want to, instead of just ignoring that subject altogether, you can at least prepare these important priority areas and then go for the exam, right?
Yeah. Let's just take some examples now, folks. ये जो आप देख रहे हो, level 1, 2, 3. Let's apply them to art and culture questions. She has done that. This is how it will look.
All right. Just imagine I'm a first timer, okay? I don't know anything. I'm just reading. Somebody has told me to do PYQ analysis. I'll just go through the question. The question in front of me is the Nagara, Dravida, Vesara are, I'm just reading the options. Maybe I got the right option as C, 3 main styles of Indian temple architecture. That's it. Then I move on to the next question. This is how I would generally do as a first timer when it comes to PYQ analysis. But as a veteran, what am I going to do? I will look at this question on 3 levels. First level, I'll identify the micro theme. What is the micro theme? Temple architecture. Right? That is my level 1. I identified. Second level. In temple architecture, what have they asked? They have asked the different types of temple architecture, which is the Nagara, Dravida, and Vesara. Okay? This is my level 2. Now level 3. I know the question, I know the answer, I know the micro theme, everything. Now I'm going to go a step ahead, which is also learning about the 3 wrong options. This is options exploration. For example, I can see here 3 main racial groups of Indian subcontinent. I can also see linguistic divisions. I can see musical gharanas. What if UPSC the next year might ask about musical gharanas? Right? That is a probable question. If UPSC has given musical gharanas as an option, that means UPSC does prioritize that particular thing. And UPSC could probably ask a question from that. So if I prepare this and go for my exam, and if that question comes, I have an added advantage, right? In comparison to rest of my competition. So this is what I meant by PYQ analysis on 3 levels. Okay, you can see the next with reference to history of Indian rock cut architecture. Again, temple architecture, as I mentioned, is an important micro theme. Next important micro theme is rock cut, be it prelims or mains. Right here again, Badami, they have asked about Barabar Caves, Ellora. So here again, right options I'll go through, and my level 3 will be researching about my wrong options as well. Next.
Yeah, someone is asking, is UPSC going to change pattern in 2026? It's anybody's guess, man. Like, no one knows. I wish I could answer that. No one knows. Welcome to UPSC. Welcome to UPSC exam. Yeah, let's move ahead. So I hope did everyone get what she's trying to say? The level 1, 2, 3 thing? Please write yes, no. That's the whole point, because if you guys don't understand, then is everyone able to understand? ठीक है. Next time आप जब भी कोई mock test दे रहे हो, कोई भी PYQ दे रहे हो, यही 3 लेवल पे सोचना है. ठीक है? Yeah, we will take more questions. So आपका repeat हो जाएगा. Anyone who's saying repeat, so we'll, she's taking more examples. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Here I can see with reference to Indian history of art and culture, consider the following pairs. Okay. So the kind of question they're asking is famous work of sculpture and the site where it is found. Right. The first one, grand image of Buddha's Mahaparinirvana with numerous celestial musicians above. It's a basic description of the sculpture and where is it found? Ajanta. So here I have got 2 keywords. I know Mahaparinirvana of Buddhism is important. Anyways, Buddhism and Jainism is a very important micro theme. Then I know Ajanta. I need to study about Ajanta as well. What are the different caves? What are the different paintings found in Ajanta? Which river passes through Ajanta? In 2021, I guess, there was a question on which river passes through Ajanta. Right? If I would have studied about Ajanta, because it has already been asked, I could have answered that question. Right? Second, a huge image of Varaha avatar. So it's basically the kind of sculpture and the place, right? I get all the important micro themes out of this, important keywords which I have to study, and if there is any wrong option, also researching about the wrong options. This is the 3 levels of PYQ analysis. If you look at the next question, Buddhism, history, tradition, culture, again, the similar type of question they're asking, famous shrine and location, which means that whenever I'm reading something like that, I need to also know the location of that place, because that's the kind of question UPSC is asking. Right? I cannot ignore the location. Next. All right. Languages. The first question, remember, there was some option on some languages or something, right? Again, if I would have studied a little more about it, I would have known about the classical languages of India. Okay, Schedule 8. Again, classical language is a repeated question. 2014 it has been asked. 2015 again the same thing. Okay, it's in current affairs. It can come in the next year as well, right? So this is again, you can see which one of the following books of ancient Indian history has a love story. 4 options have been given. One of them is the right option. I need to also study the authors of the other 3 wrong options. All right. And which dynasty, which was the time period it was written. These are the things which I need to read about it. Three level preparation of PYQ. Okay. I think a basic idea everybody would have got.
Yeah. This is Buddhism, have a similar philosophy. Someone wants to attempt here, you can raise hand. You can come and show us like you got it. We'll unmute you if you want to attempt. If you have understood what is the strategy level 1, 2, 3. आ गया किसी को समझ में, किसी को नहीं आया समझ में? Pooja wants to. Pooja, I have unmuted you. Which question do you want to take? We have unmuted you. You can take. Okay, Priyanshu, you can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. Which question do you want to take?
Sir,
level 1, 2, 3.
Which one is the following describe the best concept of the nirvana in Buddhism?
Cool.
I think,
how will you go ahead?
A.
What is the micro theme here?
Sir, the Buddhism and Jainism.
Okay, great. What is the level 2?
Level 2 is about the nirvana in Buddhism, I think.
Yeah, what is the nature of question here? That is the level 2.
Okay, it is asking about the nirvana in Buddhism, sir.
Okay.
And I am recently studying art and culture, so.
Okay, and how will you analyze the options here?
Sir, if nirvana is all about the
one of the particular philosophy, one of
Yes.
the end game of Buddhism. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so you should be understanding some philosophical aspect or dimensions of Buddhism.
Yes, sir.
Cool. But Nirvana is one of them, but there could be others, right?
Sir, nirvana is all about the end of the phase.
End game, right? But that is one of the philosophy. Basically, the theme is what are the different philosophies inside a Buddhism, right? Okay. So that's how. So this is in some options. You cannot analyze options because they are like nothing. But the deeper level, there are 3 levels at which अगर कोई river पूछा है तो उसके around कोई national park है, कोई और geographical location है. You have to go stretch these dimensions and have some basic Google done. Great.
Yes.
Just understand, option B is complete annihilation of self. Is there any religion or school of thought which actually supports this idea? This is what you have to understand.
Yep.
Right,
Yeah, ये उल्टा भी आ सकता है. It could be reversed also.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What if they ask a certain reason, like, or some true or false statement, like annihilation of self is related to Buddhism or Jainism or not? Like, I don't know.
Correct.
So it could be reversed. So yeah, that also can be done.
Yes.
Great. Let's move forward. Same thing. I think just maybe we can take one example.
You can just see the number of questions asked in Buddhism, Jainism alone.
Yep.
Which makes it very, very important. Okay, this is modern
We'll
history.
take one example for modern also. Let's say.
Yeah. Okay. Here you can see from personalities alone, a lot of questions have been asked. Then the next important micro theme is council acts, government acts, all of that. Then the British policies, then non-Congress parties, organizations. These are my important micro themes from modern history, right? Which is not that important. It's the land revenue system, Quit India movement, national movements, Cripps mission, and all of that. These are not that important in comparison. Does that mean I have to avoid it? No, you have to cover it. But again, proportional division of your time and your timetable. That's what I'm trying to speak about. All right. Okay, let's take up something. First one. Which one of the following observation is not? Yeah. You want to speak?
Yeah, let's just take one example and then.
Yeah, okay. Which one of the following observation is not true about Quit India movement of 1942? Now, my micro theme is Quit India movement. All right. My second level, what is the nature of the question? They're asking the feature of it, right? What the observations of it. All right. First one, it was a non-violent movement. B, it was led by Mahatma Gandhi. C, it was a spontaneous movement. D, it did not attract labor class in general. One of them is the right answer. I must also see that Is there any movement that was led by Mahatma Gandhi? Is there any other movement? Was there any movement which was non-violent? Was there any spontaneous movement other than Quit India movement? Something like that, right? It did not attract the labor class. So other three options as well, I need to go and identify, is it a feature of some other movement? All right. So this is the three level which I was talking about.
Yeah, I hope everyone is able to understand that the way you do PYQ right now is that I read a question, then am I able to answer it A, B, C, D, कौन सा correct है? You feel happy because you got C correct. That's the worst way to analyze PYQ. जब एग्जाम हो जाता है ना तो पेपर बहुत इजी लगते हैं. वही पेपर एग्जाम हॉल में बैंड बजा देगा. आई एम बीइंग वेरी ऑनेस्ट हियर. That's not the way to do PYQ. You should not be feeling happy because you got a PYQ question correct. The way to veterans or aspirants who have cracked some rank, they have done PYQ, is these three levels. And that is the only takeaway you want to take from today. Okay? Next time you see any PYQ, this is the way you want to crack. Not just that. Once you have defined these three levels, make your notes. Okay? Same thing. This is modern history. We can keep, these are examples just to prove the point कि ये random strategy नहीं है. Right? These are personality and their contribution. One of the most repeated microthemes. इसको तो आप ignore कर ही नहीं सकते. Look at this question. Do you want to take one example? Anyone?
All right. Okay. He wrote biographies of Mazzini, Garibaldi, Shivaji, Sri Krishna, stayed in America for some time and was also elected to the Central Assembly. He was who? Right? We have four options. Right option is Lala Lajpat Rai. I need to also go and read about Aurobindo Ghosh, Bipin Chandrapal, Motilal Nehru. What are they? Is there any organizations associated with them? Is there any work associated with them? All of these things I need to go and cover because could probably ask in the future, right?
Yeah. Some more questions from personality, contribution.
Yeah.
This is acts, again, one of the second or third most repeated micro theme. They ask
features
one
are
or
very
two
very
questions.
important
Yes,
here.
extremely important. आप ignore कर ही नहीं सकते. Next time you open up history, PYQ, you have to understand. अब जैसे यही पूछ लिया Government of India 1935. It's not just an option. You have to make notes out of it. Like what is it? Because next question next year उस पे आ जाएगा. Each one of these options, they have a standalone value in themselves. That's the whole point. You can never be surprised in next year और जब भी आप एग्जाम दे रहे हो कि ये क्यों आया है कहाँ से आया है वो स्टेज में नहीं रहना है आपको. And that is the point here, right?
And it's quite repeated as well. You can see 1919 getting repeated multiple times.
Yeah,
35,
in the same.
1930.
Yep. Again and again. यहाँ पे दिया हुआ है 1919 और वो अगले साल यहाँ पे आ रखा है पूरा एक्टिव पूरा. So आपके सामने एग्जांपल है. So that's what it is. Let's take, this is geography.
Okay. Again, world mapping, a very, very important micro theme. People generally ask me how to go about it. Here there are a list of places given, list of countries given, list of seas given. Just make a list of all of them. Go to your atlas, mark all those places, all those seas. Identify the bordering countries. What is there any other important physical feature around that? Is there anything else? Is any one of them in the current affairs? All these things you need to identify and understand. See, again, the questions such as, which are the bordering countries of Mediterranean Sea? It's a very repeated question, right? Then again, Turkey is located between which sea? You need to identify that as well. Again, Mediterranean Sea. If you would have studied about Mediterranean Sea back then, you could have easily gotten the 2017 question right. Right? Again, you can see the kind of question they are asking. Which of the lakes have been dried up in recent past? I think this nature of question have been repeated twice. To my, if I can remember it correctly. So in 2022, again, they have asked which one of the following lakes of West Africa has become dried and turned into a desert. And I think this Aral Sea thing is also the same. Which of the following has shrunk immensely, dried up in the recent past due to human activities? These are the kind of news, current affairs you have to focus on. Right?
Yeah, someone is asking for prelims and mains. So mains has a different micro themes, of course. There are more number of micro themes paper wise. This is what you're seeing is for prelims. We'll give you the
This is-
entire PDF at the end of the session. Don't worry.
This is agriculture and the good
So-
practices associated with it.
Yep.
So here you can
So
see
folks,
about mixed
let's just
farming.
show you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So इनके
can
भी
do that.
standalone notes ही I guess, right? Selection mixed farming का अलग से notes होएगा.
Yeah.
Yeah. So folks, go like this. Once you have seen a question, please ask a simple question. Do I have a standalone notes, one page or half page में notes है कि नहीं है? All those things. ये आपके starting के months की preparation है. जो आपको बार बार आप सुन रहे हो ना सब रैंकर से कि PYQ बहुत जरूरी है, उसी पे ही है सब कुछ. This is what they mean. PYQ is not like can I solve. How many of you thought before this webinar कि PYQ is just about can I get this question right or wrong from past year? That's not what PYQ analysis is. Not at all. Far from reality. That's not it is. Again, this is agriculture good practice. Look at the agriculture micro themes. How many times it has been repeating. आप में से कितने लोग हैं जो एग्रीकल्चर अभी पढ़ रही नहीं है? Can someone say yes or no? If you are 3 or 4 months into preparation, just write yes or no. Look at these. Like आप देखो, फिर आप कैसे एक्सपेक्ट कर रहे हो आपका प्रीलिम्स हो जाएगा सही से? आप look at the number of questions they have been asking in agriculture, right? That's what I'm cut through the whole drama कि सब पढ़ना है book to book. आपको पता होना चाहिए भैया एग्रीकल्चर से हर साल क्वेश्चन आ ही जा रहे हैं. How can I get them wrong? I should have a 1 or 2 page notes there. ये देखो like legume, ये vertical farming, ये सब के standalone notes you can have. What is vertical farming? Cross diversification. आ जाएगा यहाँ से क्वेश्चन, आप ढूंढते रह जाओगे पता नहीं किस एनसीईआरटी में. ठीक है, ये सब हाइंडसाइट और कंफर्मेशन बायस है. होगा क्या once you see this question in the exam next to next year, vertical farming, and then you'll go to some book, let's say random, let's say 9th class geography, then some people will come and say 9th class NCERT is extremely important because confirmation bias है ना, because question आ गया. That's not the case, right? No book is more important. UPSC का कुछ book से tie up थोड़ी ना है यार. They have no particular tie up with certain book or publication, right? They are trying, and by the way, even in micro themes, especially in mains, the way you prepare each micro themes is also different because in each paper you might have to explore different dimensions altogether. Okay, the way you prepare also is slightly different in mains, and we'll show you. We have the examples here. So look at agriculture, the number of questions they've been asking.
And
This
that
is
too, good practices in agriculture. Generally, people don't read this. People read about agriculture, the soil, the crops, different patterns. That's it. We generally think that this we can write in mains or something, but they have actually asked in prelims, right?
Yeah, look at this question, like minimum tillage, non-monoculture practices, plantation crops. So if you will just look your preparation from this lens, थोड़ा burden आपको कम लगेगा because थोड़ी predictability feel होने लगेगी आपको daily basis पे कि हाँ यार ये 150 topic तो मैंने कर ही लिया है, and that's enough for prelims. More than this is energy, fossil based sources. So not just energy, under that fossil based sources is a micro theme. Look at the number of questions.
Coal, shale, petroleum, natural gas. These are 3 most important ones under which questions have come.
Yeah. How many of you would be giving disproportionate attention to energy fossil based sources? Can you say yes or no? If not for today, अगर आप आज इस session में नहीं होते, would you be taking this topic seriously? आपको पता भी था कि एक energy fossil based source से question आए जा रहे हैं. Yeah, I have decent number of people. So that's what the whole point. Someone is like कभी नहीं. Forget like they're like never. Okay, but that's not like you don't want to lose your attempt like that. इतनी easily अपनी सीट नहीं देनी यार. अगर कोई ले भी जा रहा है तो बहुत ही फाइट करके ले जाने दो उसको. ठीक है, don't lose your place like that easily. This is polity. Same. We are going subject wise, core subjects. Can you write like so? Polity का ये micro themes है जो most recurring है. आप इनसे क्वेश्चन आने ही आने हैं. These are the questions. Fundamental right is one micro theme. DPSP, of course, FD. Look at the number of questions. By the way, these are the number of questions that could only fit on a slide. It's not like इतने ही question आए. बहुत question आए. We cannot like उतना time नहीं है. Like we cannot fit everything on the slide. Supreme Court. These are the micro themes again under polity. I'm just walking you through because we also have to cover mains, all of you. But you get the level 1, 2, 3 point here. Local self-government is again micro theme, right? Philosophical type form. So ये बहुत ही tricky question आते हैं polity में. जो अभी बीच में पूरा चला था कि पॉलिटी लक्ष्मीकांत इज नॉट रिलेवेंट एट ऑल बिकॉज लक्ष्मीकांत इज स्लाइटली फैक्चुअल साइड, फिलोसफी साय सुभाष कश्यप या वो सब लोग वहां पे ज्यादा डेवलप करते हैं. But again, this is the most recurring micro themes. You have to understand the philosophical side of constitution, preamble, and everything, right? Do you want to take one example here, Sri Lakshmi, for polity?
Just look at this constitutional government question. It has been asked. I've lost count now. Like I don't know how many times UPSC has asked the same thing, and it's word to word repeated as well. Like just look at this constitutional 2014. There's a question on constitutional government. Okay,
Yeah.
then I can see 2020 constitutional government by definition is what?
Yeah.
Okay, look at 21 question. Constitutional government means what? It's
This
a
is
very
literally like
repeated.
same.
Yeah, it's the
Yep.
same. So if I would have done my PYQs well, I could have answered this well, right? I got 2 marks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So understand the contrast between people who are attempting for the first time. Now you should be able to feel, like genuinely feel, कि कुछ ऐसा edge भी नहीं है veteran के पास. This is how they look at the whole exam, right?
Similarly, the parliamentary system of government, I can see 2015 it has been asked. Okay, 2020
Yeah.
it has been asked. 2017 it has been asked. Like philosophical है, but काफी repeated भी है. It's easy to. These are like low hanging fruits. You cannot miss out on them.
Yeah. Folks who can't find microtheme document in the chat, we'll share at the end, or we'll share the PDF. This is economy, RBI and monetary policy. I mean, ये तो सबको ही पता होगा, बहुत ज़्यादा important है. But there are dimensions to it, and those dimensions you will be able to explore when you are spending time in analyzing options also. That is the real true value of doing PYQ. It's not कि पिछले साल के मैंने question सही कर लिए. Don't judge the strength or the readiness of your prelims preparation basis. I attempted last year's paper and I got, I don't know, 120 marks. That does not reflect the readiness of your preparation in prelims. Okay, same question, same paper थोड़ी आएगा. If same paper was coming, of course you're ready, but that's will never happen, right? So this is economy, RBI monetary policy as a micro themes. Look at the number of questions. There is another slide. And these are not total number of questions. These are just whatever we could fit in. These are bonds, disinvestment. These are the questions. These are micro themes. Okay. Environment, one of the trickiest subjects, confusing subject की current affairs से पढ़ना है, static से पढ़ना है, कहाँ से पढ़ना है. Can you all write what is the most important topics in environment? Looking at this graph now. What are the most recurringly asked topics in environment? Species, great. Can you also tell if there was a question on species, how will you analyze the options? What will you do to analyze? Okay. Great. This is one of the micro theme, food chain web nutrient cycle. That is a micro theme in environment. Look at the questions there. ये आप जनरली ऐसे सोचोगे नहीं कि यार कल मुझे फूड चेन और न्यूट्रिएंट साइकिल खत्म करना है. आप you'll never think like this when you're preparing as an aspirant. You like environment करना है. इतना एब्स्ट्रैक्ट लेवल पे पढ़ाई करोगे तो यार प्रॉब्लम में फंस जाओगे इवेंचुअली. मतलब pollutant, let's just take one example, whatever you want to take here. Seems like crazy number of questions have been coming from this.
Yeah. Let's see, consider the following: carbon monoxide, methane, ozone, sulfur dioxide. Which of the above is released into atmosphere due to burning of crop or biomass residue? Okay. Next, you can see in India use of carbofuran, methyl parathion, phorate, and triazophos is viewed as apprehension. These chemicals are used in what? So you need to know the pollutants, the kind of pollutants that are coming and the sources of it. If there is any domestic item like we generally use in our household, any household items, you need to know what are the kind of pollutants that come out of it. What comes out when we burn a crop? What comes out when we burn biomass residue? These are things you need to have an idea about.
Yeah. So may I just read your chat, like you got it, like how to analyze level 1, 2, 3. Perfect. A lot of people are getting it. Sources of chemical, again, same topic, same microthemes. Look at the number of questions. So this is forest wildlife legislation. Look at the number of questions. अब जैसे ये भी है like any act that is there in the options also, like each act you should be preparing, having a
Correct.
1 pager half pager notes. बिल्कुल granted नहीं ले रहे हैं. ये जो आपको स्पीशीज दिख रही है, घड़ियाल, इंडियन वाइल्ड लाइफ, बफेलो, सबका लोकेशन, जोग्राफिकल लोकेशन, कोई इसका कैटेगराइजेशन है तो वो सब इंडेंजर्ड नहीं है. ये लुक एट दिस क्वेश्चन इन 2019. ये सारे शेड्यूल ट्राइब्स के एक्ट वगैरह आप like just have them in half page, basic Google standard resources etc. You are sorted. You will feel a different level of confidence. आपके लिए बहुत कम चीजें सरप्राइजिंग होंगी प्रीलिम्स में. इन इफ दे आर सरप्राइजिंग एट ऑल, ट्रस्ट मी, दे विल बी सरप्राइजिंग टू वेटरन आल्सो, पीपल हु आर अटेम्प्टिंग फॉर दिस व्हाटएवर, लाइक 9th 6th time 5th time, them also. ठीक है, so you will hit the similar stage. No one will have any other advantage over you. Cool. So once we had, like, a lot of people ask, like, how did this is her own 1 pager notes. How did you arrive at this? Is because you have identified the micro themes. Once you have sorted, she has made 1 pager. Do you want to explain?
I've analyzed that, the kind of questions, especially in the recent past, UPSC is asking about the factories, places that English had controlled. So I thought that that's an important micro theme for which I need to have a 1 pager note. So I've identified the English factories, the places they have controlled, and chronology wise. I need to know which factory did they set up first. Okay. Then I had a list of Dutch, I've had a list of Danes, Portuguese, French factories. This is 1 pager for that micro theme. I'm done with that. On the right hand side, you can see a map. These are important ancient places, which I thought is very important because they generally give a place and they ask which dynasty did it belong under, or which state does it belong under, something like that. So I need to know, why did I map it? Because I need to know where does it belong to, right? At least to identify the dynasty, I need to know which state it comes under, right? So that's why I had done this simple exercise, and I'm like sorted with multiple questions.
Yeah. So these are 1 pager for prelims. Again, map annotation for different topics. On right hand side, you see
national parks.
Yep.
Right. I need to know which national park comes under which state. Also, important species that I think this is not a very comprehensive one. Like, I did write, but I had like another map as well where I had like very in detail I had written all the species. So just to give an idea, you need to know which kind of species do you find in Kaziranga, which kind of species do you find in, like, for example, Desert National Park, something like that. So you need to have this map. You can also, on the left hand side, the map was that I've mentioned the national parks, the previous one. This was basically the national parks and the rivers flowing through it. Okay, this is also a kind of question UPSC asks. So this is also an important micro thing.
Yeah, this is very common of them asking.
Yeah.
Rivers, etc. I can see this lion tail macaw. This actually came, right? This one?
Yeah, it did come. Yep. Yes. Basically, it is found in the Western Ghats. So I need to know what all are found there, right?
Yeah. Great. Again, these are like 1 pager. I think
for
this is
tiger
river
reserves
system.
And elephant reserves.
Yep.
Yes. Right hand side, you can see the rivers. Generally, they are the western flowing rivers as well. The small rivers originating from the Western Ghats. So I had a list of that as well. These are the main ones, the topmost. And then you can see those small rivers, which we generally ignore. But UPSC does ask, right? So these are that Sharavati, Mandovi, Zwari, Bharatapura, Periyar, Pamba, Subarnarekha. These are like Vamsadhara. If you would have gone through PYQs, you'll know that these are already asked.
So all these things, Srilakshmi, that you're writing, like cuts through topic of cancer or the states, the thought process is still because they might have asked similar questions in the past. Am I correct?
Yes.
So that's why you are like being careful.
Features.
You're very careful, like ye fir na pooch le. So that's why you're like, okay, cool. So folks, this is like a typical example. Even if you're writing a river ka notes, this is how it should be. And you can just keep going on. Let's say you write a river, if it passes through some national park, write that name. उस national park में species क्या है वो लिख लो. The direction of the river you can write. मतलब there's like you can just explore 6 to 5 dimensions at least in 1 page. I'm sure these must be coming very handy in the revision time.
how to memorize this much information. See, I've actually made not your life, at least my life easy by putting it down on a table. Because if you go through the NCRT, it's like 10 pages or something, which you have to revise. I have actually condensed everything, all information in one page. You just have to go through this table and you're done with your revision, right? If you just go through this table like around 5, 6 times, I think you will be able to capture most of the information. A human brain has that much capacity, so don't doubt yourself.
Yeah. Also, like a lot of times because you'll be solving a lot of MCQs also, so recall ka habit bhi is fine. See, what is important is the fact at least now you know ye aata hai. Otherwise, like half of the time you don't even know because of the books and all. How will you pinpoint a piece of information in an NCRT, right? Ki ye important hai. At least now, because you're put together at one place, you are at least aware कि ये सबसे ज़्यादा important चीज़ है. Factual है, I need to remember, but at least this is soil. This is how the soil notes for Sri Lakshmi looked like.
Right. And
What are the different dimensions?
Percentage of the soil in the entire country, the origin, what is the origin of the soil, the nature of the soil, what is it rich in, what does it lack in, the color, the types of it, where do you find it, the location basically, what are the kind of vegetation it supports, and the important features of it. For example, black soil is known as regu soil, or self-flowing soil, or a mature soil. So I need to know these kind of features as well.
Yeah. I'm sure like somewhere down the like in last 20 or like at least 13 or 12, like I don't know, 15 years, इनसे भी question like ये जो nitrogen content का तो बहुत बार like they have been asking, right?
Yes.
They have been asking, of course, location of these rivers is very basic thing. Crops they have been asking. Yep. So again, this is coming from you're just being careful कि ये पहले पूछ चुके हैं. I don't want to leave this information. You're not taking it for granted. I also believe because you're writing it at one place, you're not 100% relying on your memories, at least during the preparation key. Next time I'll read soil, I should read in this dimension or in this particular way. Because you have it on one paper, you by default you're reading 7 dimensions. Otherwise, you'll be just reading like one standalone in NCRT, right? Yeah, फिर जहाँ भी है. This is
Right.
mountain ranges, if I'm correct.
Yeah. The different mountain ranges like the Kashmir Himalayas, that is the northwest one. And then you have the Himachal Uttarakhand Himalayas, Darjeeling Sikkim Himalayas, Arunachal Himalayas, and the Eastern Himalayas. So I need to know what are the different features of these, what does it comprise of, then the different glaciers, different important passes, freshwater lakes, which you find. So this is basically mapping, but in a tabular format.
Yeah.
Similarly for the other Himalayas as well.
Yeah. Let's just
Alright.
quickly cover. So this was prelims, folks. Let's just move on for mains paper wise, and we'll next 7 to 10 minutes we'll like to cover it. The idea is going to be like the whole idea is same. First, you figure out what are the most recurring micro themes, then you end up making notes for them. Because and the way to do that is like when you are making notes, you are writing maximum number of dimensions. Exam के पहले जो 3 महीने का gap होता है between prelims and mains, these are your like you should be trusting these things like at any time. These notes, one page notes. So it's better that we show our own notes. This is for society. There are a lot of notes we have to cut down just to give you. Please try to understand the principle behind how this has happened.
It is.
Yeah.
It is actually. I think Thani or someone was asking that. Can you provide your notes? See, it is easy to go and refer to someone else's notes, but doing this exercise by yourself is very, very important, because I feel that because I've made these notes, I've not referred to someone else's notes. I had a good grasp of all these things, right? I knew the different dimensions. I didn't have to go through it multiple times. I just had to go through it few times. So this effort you need to take, because it is UPSC. It's civil service examination. You're going to become an officer. So you can't just take it lightly, just go and refer to someone else. You need to do smart work. I understand that if you have a time crunch, I understand you'll have to refer few notes of other toppers or something. But more or less, you have to do this exercise by yourself, right? And that is why I'm showing you these notes just as a reference point, how to prepare your own notes. Okay, so this is a micro theme, poverty, which comes under Indian society. Here again, mains is all about answer writing, and I need to prepare my one pager as per my answers, right? So answer has three parts: introduction, body, and conclusion. So in my notes, I need to have a ready-made introduction, I need to have a ready-made conclusion, and different dimensions under the body after doing PYQs analysis, right? So here in poverty, I have a basic definition. Like if I don't have anything to write in introduction, I can at least write down this. Right? Because in those 7 minutes, I can't just generate out of nowhere. I need to have it in my notes. I have a basic definition of poverty, then a data related to poverty, a quote related to poverty. So it's like I can use any of these. Right? I can start with data. I can either start with definition or with a quote. Then identifying different dimensions under the body. Again, go through the PYQs, see what UPSC has asked. UPSC might have asked different forms of poverty. Right? Generally, as a layman, we just think about the economic poverty, income poverty, but it's beyond that. There is skill poverty, there is health poverty, there is gender poverty, there is menstrual poverty as well, period poverty, right? So you have multiple forms of poverty. This is one dimension. Second dimension is reasons behind poverty. Why poverty still exists in India, despite taking so many steps to elevate it. So the reasons, again, reasons are subcategorized into historical, social structure, economic structures, political and environmental reasons. Once you're done with this, then types of poverty, absolute and relative poverty. Then I have government measures as another important dimension. Okay, so government measures I have, then different committees that have been set up, capabilities approach of Amartya Sen for a value addition. Then an important other dimension is linkage between population and poverty, which UPSC has asked multiple times. So population as a cause of poverty and population is an effect or a consequence of poverty. I've understood this. Again, this notes was a little old. It was at that time COVID-19 was important. So I have written COVID-19 impact on poverty as well, challenges for its eradication, and a small conclusion, which I had actually quoted Honorable Prime Minister. He had written this, he has spoken about poverty. The 21st century is an era of knowledge. If poverty is to be abolished in this century, it can be abolished only through knowledge. So I found it interesting. I could actually use it as my conclusion. So this is how I prepared. Introduction, conclusion, body with different dimensions.
Yeah. Can I ask, were your sources, so ye jo aap likh rahe ho, these are coming from standard books, like standard resources?
Not standard resources.
Notes,
Google,
where is this?
internet. You just have to type poverty, UPSC, and you will have a list of links where you'll have these information written.
But whenever you read something from a standard app, were you including them also, like as a dimension?
Yeah. That's why I said these are prepared on loose sheets, right? So if I have to do some value addition, if I have to do something, it is very easy for me. Once I do it in a book, I'm restricted. I cannot add information.
Yep. Is this so let's say this is a society ka poverty thing. Ye aapka pehla note se, like this has come after a few iterations. Is this the first?
Few iterations, definitely.
So iske pehle what was happening before this? Was it like very bulky or something? Like so if there is a beginner, should they do this thing only like from day one, like one pager? Ya fir wo iterate hoega, evolution hoga after a while?
I think it will evolve in basically
it
took me a while to understand it, but if you actually understand the principle behind it, you can do it from day one as well. Like once you're done with your basic reading, you can start doing your one pager. You don't have to waste your time making bulky notes.
Great. So if the thing got evolved, you must have to lose some information, na? Cut down karna padega.
Correct.
How were you deciding ki ye nahi likhna hai one pager mein?
See, the thing is, again, if you can look at what I have written here, I have written like keywords. I have not written sentences, right? And this keyword I can these are self-explanatory keywords, like population explosion. I don't have to explain it.
They're retrieval cues. Once you read the keyword, aapko pura yaad aa ja raha hai ki.
Yaad aa jayega. And I don't even have to write sentences. I can actually use these keywords in my actual answer during my mains.
So folks, because whatever I just asked her, please understand, if you will copy her notes and if you'll read, you see the amount of context you're losing. It's her own personal memory. She has made some decision कि ये नहीं लिखना है, because she feels उसको वो याद आ जाएगा and she will remember all this. What if it's not the case with you? If you'll just copy her notes, your one pager has to be completely different depending how much can you recall, how much you want to cut down. If you will end up just studying from her notes, please understand, like it will not move you forward. Yes, you should understand the principle. you should. But इसलिए बोला जाता है टॉपर के नोट्स कभी मतलब
Blindly
dude,
follow नहीं
yeah,
करना चाहिए.
never, because you're losing so much of context why they choose to write this, because it only works for them. So do not, like, I don't know how else to persuade you, but 100% सिर्फ खुद के नोट्स नहीं बनाना है, सिर्फ टॉपर से पढ़ना है, बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम. I think this green thing is this like a quote that you've
Quote,
written? Like,
yes, by Prime
so,
Minister Modi.
so if this thing comes, you will fit in the quote. You have a ready-made custom quote ready.
Yes,
For,
yes.
Great, great. Awesome. So this is how GS, this is geography. I think more diagrams here.
Yeah, geography must include diagrams. You cannot,
Yep.
get away with diagrams here.
Yeah.
Again, ocean currents, you can see a simple definition of what is ocean currents. Again, for these kind of topics, you cannot, generate some innovative introductions, right? You can only write definitions. So I've done that. I've written 2 types of ocean currents, then a basic world map diagram showing, the different ocean currents, factors, important dimension, impact, again, geographic impact, economic impact, impact on marine life. I've identified that. So again, this is ocean currents. You can see cyclones on the right-hand side, a basic definition of it. Important one is tropical, 2 different types of cyclones, tropical and temperate cyclones. Then again, characteristics of that, factors for the formation of tropical cyclones. Then why largely confined to South China Sea, Bay of Bengal? This is a question, PYQ, that has been asked. So I've written the reasons for that. Why more cyclones are in the Bay of Bengal in comparison to Arabian Sea? A recent phenomenon is increasing frequency of cyclones in the Arabian Sea. Why is that happening? So all these things, dimensions I've analyzed after my PYQ analysis.
Yeah, anything cyclone comes, you have like decent enough content.
Yes.
On top of this, were you enriching with current affairs? Like अगर कुछ आ रहा है तो फिर वो
Yes. कुछ cyclone आ गया 2023 में या 2022 में, मैंने include कर लिया. Right. The Arabian Sea thing is a current affair, right? Why there is an increasing frequency? So I need to have examples to show that there is an increasing frequency.
Yeah. I think you've written like 2022.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. This is ancient history.
Yeah. Indus Valley Civilization, very important micro theme. A basic introduction, ready-made. Again, analyzed an important dimension where UPSC actually linked the Indus Valley Civilization urbanization to the recent urbanization. Okay, so I need to draw that linkage. So that's what I did. Urban planning in IVC and present times. What are the similarities? What can we draw inspiration from? What was the IVC culture? Then a small diagram showing the Indus Valley Civilization, and then something which I can quote it to. Like, for example, smart city mission. Is there something like it's basically a value addition kind of a thing, and then a small conclusion kind of like IVC people were the best engineers of their times. You can actually take inspiration, but you cannot completely replicate IVC urban planning because the kind of threats in the current urbanization is much more than what was existing back then, right? So something like that. So that was about IVC. Then yes.
Let me just ask these aspirants, folks, how have you studied engine history? थोड़ा भी Harappa and IVC कुछ भी पढ़ा है अभी? Yes or no? No. ठीक है. Those who have, looking at this notes, right? See, prelims का तो game आप समझ गए. Mains में ना मुझे यही समझ में आ रहा है because so let's say me, like I am attempting or Srilakshmi is attempting. If she writes 6 or 7, let's say 8 dimensions, different kind of perspective or dimensions in an answer, and I only write 5 or 6, 2 dimensions less than her, she will take an edge of 1.5 or 2 marks. Multiply with 20 question, multiply with 4 GS paper, 80 to 100 marks का edge वो ले जा चुकी है, which is like make or break in UPSC. एक नंबर से ऊपर नीचे होता है 80 marks is like, ठीक है, वो तो अलग ही गेम है. तो that's what I'm trying to say कि आप जब मेंस के नोट्स बना रहे हो ना, प्लीज थिंक इन टर्म्स ऑफ हाउ मेनी एग्जॉस्टिवली you have to cover dimensions, like how many dimensions am I covering from different point of view. So that is what you want to understand from her notes here. ठीक है कि look at the kind of, so जैसे I think मेरे को ये सही like this, I like it, smart city mission. Basically you are saying कि IBC से inspiration ली जा सकती है for modern cities. This is something I don't know how many people will be like writing if something like this comes, right? You can just pick up. What if they draw a contrast between a smart city and ancient cities, right? And you have a perfect answer ready for this. Great. Okay, let's
On the
move
right
forward.
hand side, you can see rocket architecture. Again, a very important micro theme.
Once again. Yep.
Yeah. Again, here you can see introduction, a map showing different rocket architectures, then an evolution of it from Mauryan period onwards till Rashtrakuta period, then different kinds of structures using rocket, then what a very like if you would have just gone through the PYQs of these micro themes, you will understand that the kind of question UPSC is asking is how is it an important source of knowledge of the ancient society, right? So that's what I did exactly here. So important source of knowledge of the ancient society. What are the kind of dimensions that I can cover? Culture, social, religious, political, economical, right? And what are these architectures giving me information about? Right.
Yeah.
Like I, looking at the paintings, I can say that there was a very high artistic expression of the people living in those times. In social, I can see that there was a socio-economic setup. For example, in Bhimbetka caves, there was a painting on social life. There was a mode of communication, right? In religious, I can see that, there was Shaityas, there were Viharas. That means Buddhism was prevalent during those times. These are the information. So it's not out of nowhere, like I just came out of, the important source of knowledge. No, I did go refer to the PYQ. So I identified this is an important dimension I have to have in my notes.
Yeah. And then you have clubbed between culture, social, and uske andar ek example you have given.
Correct.
Perfect. Awesome. So this is the principle, like folks, this is the thing that you should be taking away rather than exact notes. Modern history, yes, I'm assuming same philosophy.
Yes,
What she's
same
doing,
philosophy.
covering maximum number of dimensions. In the end, if there is some example in current affairs, etc., she's trying to enrich. She is having. अगर आप ये भी देखो, this is one because आपका जो notes है, why are they looking like a main answer itself? Like why is there an intro, then way forward? Was this a conscious choice? You want to make your
Yes, it
notes
was.
in the form
Because
of.
I knew that in those 7 minutes, I cannot like generate out of nowhere. So once I have this in this format, like if I have an introduction ready, I don't have to waste time thinking about introduction, right? I can spend more time in my body, enriching my body. So that's what I did here. And this is the ideal way of doing. Like I've actually spoke to many toppers and they actually followed the same strategy.
Exactly the
having
same.
notes in this
Yeah.
manner.
You check Animesh ka copy, you check other rankers from CD also. Exactly the same. They have their notes like a mains answer, 100%.
Right.
I don't know how it helps. Like it just like because in the end you should be able to recall very fast in 6-7 minutes.
Right.
Great. This is post independence. This is data. What are the like factual data points you want to include to enrich your
This
answers?
was like a last minute revision thing. Like once I've done everything, like if I have to go through, because it's all about value addition, right? Once you have the basic content ready, what matters is your value addition. So for value addition, data, important best practices, some case studies, these are things that needs to be added. And GS1 people generally miss out on. People generally think that GS3 it needs to be filled with data. It's actually, you can add these things. For example, like the unemployment thing or a global inequality index, MPI, you can see ILO, World Bank report, World Economic
These
Forum
things, I
report,
think these things
corruption
add a
perception.
lot of weight to your intro, even in way forward.
Yes.
They give a lot of like weight to examiner also. Ki, the aspirant understand. They're very updated with the data
It's like
points,
when I'm
etc.
claiming something like intercaste marriages are still less in India. I need to have a data supporting it needs to add credibility to my argument, right? So
Exactly.
that's why that's why I did here in NFH's fourth report. Intercaste marriages are just 5.8%. We have a feeling that it's increasing. Definitely it's increasing, but it's just 5.8%, right? So I'm actually adding credibility to my arguments, and that's why I've made a list of data.
Yeah, it makes your argument like very real because there is a data point. Great. So these are like certain set of data point relevant to GS3 and 2. This is GS2 notes. Let me just walk through. I'm assuming the philosophy, the principles are
It's the
same.
same. It's the
Just
same.
take like one example if you want to take. Maybe
Just
this one.
I'll just go through the first one. I
Yeah.
have a list of keywords. Now again, when I speak about subjects like polity, I need to have certain technical keywords that I need to use. Okay, I'm not talking about the PSIR level of keywords, but
Yeah.
at least the basic minimum. So, like for example, I can use the word constitutionalism, federalism, temple of democracy, democratic mandate. These are keywords that needs to come in my answer to make it look, to have quality in my answer, right? So I just had a list of these keywords, and then also, like for example, you can see certain principles also written here, or some scholars, scholarly keywords, or something like identity card of constitution, which here you can see preamble was called as identity card of constitution. Then I have a list of articles also, which can be used across the answers. For example, like if I'm talking anything related to finance between center state or state federal issue or something, I can actually add finance commission. And whenever I'm writing finance commission in the bracket, I must add the article number as well. It's basically showing off that you know the article number.
Yeah, 100%. It's just
And you need to show off
Yep,
because
yep.
examiner doesn't know how much knowledge do you have, right? It has to come out in your answers. That's why you need to have the list of such article numbers which you can use across your answers.
Yeah, if I ask anyone here, everyone will have a bias. Who will you give one or half extra marks? The one who writes the article or who doesn't? It's a personal bias. Like इसको ज़्यादा पता होगा because they are like article बहुत ही updated है, sincere है, पढ़ के आए हुए. So I think these things were helping you recall very fast. कि एक जगह लिख लो with the
Right.
with things.
Last minute revision के लिए बहुत easy है. And people generally talk about writing articles in introduction, but I must say that if you can write articles across, like even in your body, like if you have mentioned the term governor, you need to write the term, in the bracket. If you can write the article, it is the best thing you can do. So just try to, by heart, try to retain all these articles in your brain somehow.
And these are like most important, most repeated जो आते ही हैं हर चीज में. So article 153 गवर्नमेंट का क्वेश्चन आना ही आना, गवर्नमेंट का आ रहा है, कहीं भी आ रहा है. Like a lot of issues going on around that. So,
and it's not just governor ka question, right? Like just if it is a federal issue happening, and if I have to mention one of the issue as governor and CM ka, I can add it, right? So it's not necessarily governor ka question aana hi chahiye. For example, here GST council, any question related to federalism, federal issues, in my way forward, I can actually give a suggestion saying that, GST council is a good example, and I can write a article number of it, right?
Yep. Great. Yeah, it could just be one point of the whole answer also.
Right.
Yep. So these are like, again, just walking through all of you. Similar philosophy.
The federal features and unitary.
Yeah,
right.
Similar principle, nothing different. Make sure all these like most important, I think, court cases, case of Nanda.
Yes.
Indira
Basic
so,
structure doctrine.
Yeah, basic structure ka hai. Sab kuch like in your hand, like whenever I need to go through, whenever I forget, and I'm struggling to write answers, better answers. ये सब कुछ handy available है. ये difference है जो एक बिगिनर मिस करता है. ये पूरे वेबिनार का पॉइंट वही है. यहाँ पे ये बताने का पॉइंट नहीं है कि मई तक ये कर लो, अप्रैल तक वो कर लोगे यार. वी आर ऑल मैच्योर, आप सब कर लोगे. देयर इज नो डाउट ऑन योर एफर्ट. बट आई एम like I said, before this webinar, I was on call with few aspirants, right? And they basically said, what have I not done? Right? And then there are aspirants जो कुछ नहीं कर रहे, they have qualified, they have name in the list. It will feel like unfair. It just unfair, right? But at the end of the day, please develop your advantages, and that is the whole point of this webinar. After this, you should not be feeling कि एक veteran को ज़्यादा पता है. This is the way they are writing, thinking. And I'm not telling, she's not just telling, she's actually showing you. That makes all the difference कि ऐसे ही पढ़ना है. आप कुछ माइक्रो थीम्स आइडेंटिफाई करो, उसके वन पेज नोट्स बनाओ, हैंडी, कवर ऑल द एग्जॉस्टिव डायमेंशंस. Look at all these cases written here. Even the conclusion is custom made. Nothing is left to chance. Like अगर इस पे कुछ क्वेश्चन आता है तो कंक्लूजन भी मेरा रेडी है. ये बे फॉरवर्ड है, मुझे 7-6 मिनट ही मिलने हैं, वहां पे इतना सोचने का टाइम है नहीं. आई स्ट्रगल. I should have everything ready. Of course, you'll not hit 100% right this, but you understand, right? I have to write around this. You get that thing after multiple revision. Most important RP Act you have written properly. Cool. I think this is GS3. Just take one example, whatever you want to take.
Government budgeting, microtheme, important microtheme. Again, a list of few static information which needs to be mentioned. Then issues. Again, here government budgeting, we generally study prelims in a very factual manner, but when it comes to mains, it's always about analysis, right? So second ARC issues that have been mentioned in government budgeting, I've mentioned all of them. Reforms introduced, what are the types of government budgeting, all of them, and then a basic thing about like different types of budget. Chances that, UPSC has been asking a lot of static question from economy. So this is something which you need to have an idea about. So all this I've written. Next.
Yeah. Hey, so few aspirants are confused about so the dimensions that we say ki we have to cover exhaustively all the dimensions. How were you making decision ki these are enough dimensions? Like what was making you confident कि मैंने ठीक ठाक dimension cover कर लिए हैं?
Okay.
Was it coming from
I would
PYQ
not.
या फिर model answer से ये enrichment was it coming from standard sources की maximum or Google is one more thing, right? Because वहाँ से तो extra dimensions मिलना ही है. Something new you'll always find. So was it? What was the source for?
I would not claim that इतना ही dimensions है. ठीक है, इससे भी और हो सकता है. I'm a human being, okay.
Yes.
So I was an aspirant when I was preparing all of this. So जितना हो सकता है उतना मैंने cover किया है. कहाँ से cover किया है? पहला है PYQs. PYQs में I identified कि what is UPSC exactly asking in that particular micro theme. This is something which I did. Again, I said that, I refer to Google a lot, like internet. I type that thing and then UPSC and I refer to multiple resources. So in that itself, I've found out dimensions. The next thing is when I joined some answer writing, tests and all. So from there also I have gotten, few dimensions which I can actually include in my micro theme. So that's how I came up with these dimensions.
And at the end of the day, anything comes in current affairs, you're Googling and वहाँ से एक ना एक कुछ तो मिलने ही extra point.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the aspirants, I think 61st rank this year. I was taking a session with her and she was like, मैं राजस्थान का हिंदी न्यूज़पेपर पढ़ती थी because वहाँ पे कुछ ना कुछ extra local में कुछ dimension में. Think about it. She was like, मुझे वहाँ पे जो extra point मिल रहे थे वो किसी न्यूज़पेपर ने कहीं cover नहीं किया था because they had this local ground reality insights, whatever. And she used to write Hindi newspaper ka translate into English and then she got great marks in English. Think about it, like weirdest of the strategy, read Hindi newspaper, local Jansatta some newspaper she was reading. So, I mean, you're right. They can come from any place as long as you are capturing it in one place.
Yes.
And see, that is the edge these people are getting because वो तुमसे एक दो ज़्यादा advantage ले लेते हैं. Like they'll write 2 more extra points. Not random points, they will still be meaningful, but there are 2 more extra points. And why will you not get 1 marks extra, half marks extra, multiply by 20, multiply by 4 GS paper? That's the difference. These are GS4 notes. What are these?
These are
Like
a list of ethical keywords. No, ethical keywords. Like, see, the thing is, I have to make my ethics answer look like an ethics answer, right? I can write in a layman language as well, but I need to have these keywords, like, for example, golden mean or reflective thinking, eudaimonia or homo mensura. So I need to have these list of keywords, positive keywords and negative keywords. So I have both of them listed down. So I'll make sure that I have these in my answers as well.
Yeah.
Again, last minute revision. Best thing. Next. List of ethical dilemmas useful for both theory section of ethics paper and case studies. Because case studies directly they ask, what is the ethical dilemma in this particular case study? You need to have a list of that as well. So this is sustainability versus righteousness, means versus end, organizational loyalty versus rule of law. So a list of like around 2022 or something, and a list of quotes as well. Like, so
you can see
generally we have this. So generally we have this issue of how to start your ethics answer, like, but if you see a keyword, like keyword from your syllabus, if you have a quote related to that keyword, you can actually start your answer with that. And a list of conclusions. Again, this is another major issue. Here I have list of conclusion for both theory and case studies. So means do not justify the end. End does not justify the means. 2 wrongs do not make a right.
This is just a list of conclusions.
Conclusions.
This is just So, like, you are trying to kill all the unpredictability in the exam. Keep a conclusion also, I'll prepare custom conclusions. You have points of conclusion. Ki this is,
Yeah.
if this comes, I'll write this. Great. So you're like
So
basically you're ready for the GS
one
board.
of the conclusion I can see here that the oath taken by me at the police academy reminds me to serve the nation, people, and lastly myself. So this is basically for the case study thing. Like if you're a SP or a police officer, and then you come up, you are, stuck in a dilemma, ethical dilemma. Of what are you going to do? So this is basically for like conclusion for such kind of case studies I have made.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're not relying ki I should make up right in the moment. You already have something. Because you can't
At
depend
least
like
I have something. If I
at
want to
least
make up, I can make up. At least I have something. I should not go blank because
yes.
ethics generally there are 50 pages to write in the other GS papers, and in ethics it's 60. So the time is like only 3 minutes per page you're getting. You don't have time to think at all. Once you stop your pen, you're gone. You're out of the race.
Yep. Great. I think are these name of
Yeah, so this is like list of examples of civil servants. It's exemplary example.
again,
Like
I
list
think these
of
are like used for case studies and references.
yeah. If not case study for theories as well. For example, like something comes around compassion as a value, then I can add this. If
Are
it
you
is something
quoting
like
you'll be quoting these names in ye cases like there?
yeah, I'll be
Okay.
doing that as
Yes.
example.
Awesome.
Objectivity. So it's like mention the value and the example related to it. So I would always say that you need to have a list of examples of civil servants or general personalities and a personal example as well, like from your own life. If you can add that personal touch to your answer, that will be great.
Yeah.
Again, list of Western philosophies, Indian philosophies, you must have that to
Yeah.
basically, put out your arguments in favor of, like if there is a question, especially based on quotes type question, you don't know how to go about it. You can actually quote these kind of philosophies and justify that question. This is what you can do.
Great.
Or if you have to add perspectives, this is a great way to do that.
Yeah. Great, folks. I think we have covered prelims, microthemes, mains, microthemes. I mean, this will become a very long session. And if you have not, she has taken each GS paper ka session already. We have uploaded them on YouTube. 2 we have uploaded. Other 2 we'll be uploading in coming days. She has spent enough time talking about each GS paper. ठीक है? ऐसे ही prelims का she has taken the complete session on microthemes. Beyond that, tonight I'll be sharing the whole PDF of microthemes. बहुत सारे लोगों को पूरा टाइम तुम लोगों ने बस PDF दे दो मैं निकाल दिया है. You should have listened to us or her at least. ठीक है? कि क्या बोल क्या रहे हैं? You're like PDF दे दो सर बस. So the whole point is that you understand कि भैया what is the difference between someone who's attempting for the third time and you don't want to be in a situation of attempting third time. That is the puri fight hum yahi par rahe hain, but fine, you just want a PDF. So let's talk about few last things, building consistency and discipline. And how was your journey around these things?
All right. So I could also see few questions on this. Consistency, I would say, make a timetable. Don't run away from it. Macro and micro. See, it's about if you actually look at the entire UPSC preparation, the things you have to cover, like in a macro picture, you will actually get scared, right? Because there's so many subjects to cover. 2 things: make a macro timetable. Like I've given you an yearly timeline as to what to cover when. That needs to be there. A monthly timetable in a particular month. What are the subjects you're going to cover? That you need to have. A weekly timetable. In a week, what are you going to cover? And daily targets. Daily targets as in I have to I have to study something tomorrow. I have to sit the day before that at night. I need to sit down and write down these are things I'm going to cover the next day. And write it down. Why am I focusing on writing it down? When you write it down and you finish one target, you strike that down. When you strike it down, you have a sense of satisfaction. You have a sense of completion. right? So that is very important. Write it down. And when you're making timetable, you need to have it in front of you. Stick it. I don't know where you're going to stick it, but stick it right in front of you. You need to have that plan in front of you so that you don't waste your time. Okay, this is about consistency, and always focus on small steps. Okay, that's why I'm focusing on weekly and daily targets. Okay,
Yeah.
please, if you can have a study partner, it is well and good. If not, it's okay. Please keep your distractions away, like phone, while you're studying. At least don't, nowadays this reel culture has come up. You will not even know how your 2 hours, 3 hours have gone. Just keep it away. Give it to your parents, okay, or give it to your friend. Or keep it at home if you're studying in library. You don't need it. Okay, please uninstall all the social media apps. At least deactivate it and keep it. Okay, uninstall the apps on your phone. You don't need it. Okay, these are few steps you can take for building consistency and discipline. That's it.
Yeah. Pooja, please write your questions in the chat so that we can ask her, because she has a limited time. We are already way past 15 minutes running behind the webinar. She will leave once these 2-3 questions are asked. I will take all the questions. We have other people who will take all the questions. But please write so that she can answer. Effective revision. What was your revision strategy during these times for
Okay.
prelims, mains?
Okay. So I had a revision plan as well. Like I used to include, like if I'm allocating 15 days for a subject, I would allocate few days for my revision as well. And I used to include that in my timetable. Like I used to mark those days as my revision days. And how do I do revision? I basically don't sit and read cover to cover. Okay, what I do is I used to close my book and I used to recall how much ever I'm trying to, if I can recall all of them. So it's basically called active recalling, which I got from one of my mentors. So you focus on actively recalling whatever you have studied instead of passively doing it, right? If possible, scribble down while you're studying. Scribbling also helps a lot, okay? Because if your hand-brain coordination will be there and you'll be able to focus a lot. Okay, then also daily try to allocate 1 hour for your revision. Whatever you have revised in that day or the previous day, keep 1 hour every day. Okay, and have a revision plan. These are the basic things you can do for this. And one-pager notes, that is your best friends for revision, because you will not waste much time revising your books. You can go through your one-pager and you'll be done with it.
Yeah, I think with each revision, your notes also become shorter, maybe, because now you're able to recall things which you were struggling earlier. So I think that also helps in evolving and reaching out to this one-pager thing, right? What was your frequency for mock test, and attempt करने के बाद what was the process? Like once you have attempted prelims का MCQ वाला mock test, or let's say mains, were you sitting down with it and trying to find the gaps, etc.? Like what was it like?
When it comes to prelims, after giving the test, you need to actually identify the wrong questions. Like where have you gone wrong? Why has it gone wrong? If it is from your static portion, that means there is something missing in your static coverage, right? So identify those micro themes. So micro themes are then micro themes of the question, and then go back to your books, read it well. Okay, identify the nature of the question that has been asked. Maybe you might have studied that micro theme, but you might have not studied in the nature which UPSC generally asks. Right? For example, like in that art and culture, they have asked the architecture and the location of it. Maybe you have missed out on location. Right? So this is what you have to identify. This is how you identify the gaps in your preparation. So you do this. If it is some random current affair question which you might have gotten wrong, you can ignore it completely. Just focus on your static thing. Just focus on making your static strong. That's it. This is your prelims. And for answer writing, I would say once you're done with your basic reading of the subject, start with answer writing. You will write bakwas answer at the start. Everybody goes through that phase. I have also written pages and pages. I've crossed the word limit initially. I've done all of that thing. What you have to do is at least start writing. Okay, make your notes also. Eventually, you'll start. Once you start answer writing, you will know how to make your notes. Okay. For reference, refer to topo copies. Go through their answers, what they have written, what they have included, what you might have written. Just try writing on those questions which they have written, and just try and compare your answer with their answer. You will identify a lot of gaps, right? Initially, always focus on enriching the quality of your content, not on the time. Don't try to write in 7 minutes. Always take your time, write a good answer, but at least write a good answer. Okay, this is what I would say for answer writing.
Yeah. I think in the end, is it a good assumption कि आखिरी में तो like so a lot of aspirants will have a lot. So I keep hearing this, like they have all the knowledge, but they can't articulate, and the only way, and they keep asking like how to do it out. The only way to do is to actually write the one of the worst answers ever.
Correct.
And मतलब आप किसी भी रैंकर के आंसर्स देख लो यार, शुरू के आंसर्स बहुत ही मतलब like they are not worth UPSC level at all, but eventually they are in the list. So वो evolution है, वो भी इसका कोई shortcut नहीं है दोस्तों. Like you have to go through that process, like until you'll start getting some good structure to the answers, etc. Yes, Srilakshmi, you have been in the process for 4 years. Not easy. And
Not easy at
for
all.
folks who don't know, she did not see much success in the initial 3 attempts, but she couldn't get through prelims. अगर आपको नहीं पता है, but fourth attempt में she got through prelims, but then she got through the whole. मतलब then she has her name in the list. Like mains भी हो गया, prelims भी हो गया, interview भी हो गया. And prelims was the thing that was holding her back. What did it take for the 4 years of like I have to do this?
Lot of breakdowns, emotional breakdowns, lot of tears, lot of failures. The thing is, again, motivation, I would say, I had a quote written on my study table that, you are an officer,
Yeah.
think like an officer. So it's like you're preparing to become an officer, right? So tomorrow, if you become the DM of a district or something and you have multiple problems in front of you, would you just cry, run away from all of that? No. So it's like I used to identify, definitely I used to have those moments of, anxiety, my crying sessions. I used to have all of that. But what I used to do is I used to identify my problems. Okay. If a subject is my problem, I would identify how can I make it easier. I would actually look at the solution. How can I solve it? You need to have this kind of mentality. Go in front of the mirror, look at yourself and say, you're an officer, think like one. You can't just run away from things, right? So this is the only motivation. If it's like external, first of all, you need to have that, that fire inside you, that it should not be like an external motivation thing. I understand. Take your time. It's a long process. Just study for 7-8 hours daily. But always, keep telling yourself, this is a long journey. This is UPSC. UPSC deserves that kind of respect as well. Okay? And do not doubt yourself. That's the only thing I can say. Every time, I have failed 3 times before I could actually make it through. There might be there were days when I had self-doubt. But then I used to always remind myself that this is for something good. Yeah. I will eventually make it. Have that confidence in yourself. Never doubt.
Yeah, that brings me to the next thing. Self-doubt thing and distractions. Distraction के लिए तो I will highly suggest just delete the social media.
Delete
Instagram,
social
मतलब
media.
बिल्कुल
Just keep your phone away.
Just keep it away. मतलब आप लोग सब mature, मतलब ये I'm feeling weird even when I say this. I'm asking other mature people to delete, and it is not easy. I am also in that loop. It's not easy, but you have a purpose, bigger purpose, and it's for the short period. Like I said, looking back, you don't want to regret. That's the whole point here. Like she also said, like I had some belief and some things, and I think you have pretty much captured key. Whenever there was a self-doubt, yet these things are bound to happen. We are all human in the end. But at the end of the day, you don't get stuck in that loop. You try to find some solution out of it, and I think that's what you kept doing. You were trying
I used to daily write down that I'm going to clear. If it's like prelims in front of me, I'm going to clear prelims 2023. Every day I used to write, and this used to, I used to repeat this for all the 3 stages. Yeah. So this, I don't know how much is it going to help, but it's actually going to have an impact on your mind, right? You are at least telling yourself.
The thing that you're saying, this is not like this is not exclusive to you. So the ranker that I was saying, Ishani, rank 79, she couldn't qualify in first 2-3 attempts, but eventually this year she did 79 rank. And you know what she used to do? 2 things. One is she had a concept called cookie jar. So whatever good will happen today in terms of preparation, she'll write it and put it in the cookie jar. It's like a cookie jar of happy moments in a day. It affects your brain, honestly. It just makes you feel better. Second thing she has done is on the table, like on the wall, she has written FC 97 or 90, 98. Like I'll be there in the foundation course 98, 2023. That's what she has written.
Manifesting.
That belief has manifested eventually. Like 2023 FC 97 or 98, whatever FC it is, but she has written that. So think about it. Like these things should reinstate your belief again and again, because a digression is bound to happen. And I think there's no better person than yourself to hold yourself accountable.
Correct.
So make sure, and motivation के चक्करों में मत पड़ो तो ही better है. Motivation बहुत short term सा boost होता है. Go for some bigger thing which is like discipline, right? If you're feeling bad, good, doesn't matter, you'll come back to the table. It is true not for civil service, but anything that you want to do in life, discipline always is a better thing to chase than motivation, because it will lose. You'll eventually lose motivation next week. एक week में टेस्ट में कम नंबर आएगा, you have lost the motivation. But discipline won't. So yeah,
that's why
it.
you need to have your daily targets and weekly plan ready in front of you to maintain that discipline.
Yeah, that brings us. Thank you so much, Lakshmi. I know you need to go, and thanks for taking out time.
Thank you.